Good evening, everybody. My name is Rick Sloan. I am the current chairman of the board for the Cordova Rec and Park District. I'd like to open this regular board meeting on Wednesday, November 17th at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you. If you could all please stand. Would like to invite HR Manager Andrea White to lead us in a moment of silence, and then please remain standing for the pledge.
Hi, thank you. I'm Andrea White. Good evening, Board of Directors. I'd like to unfortunately let you know, I'm going to tell you just a couple of things first. One of our longtime retirees, Stanley Flood, passed away on October 21st, 2021. He worked for the district for almost 24 years. He worked from 1980 until 2004. I spoke to his wife soon after his passing, and she wanted to share that he loved telling stories about the golf course, some sad, some happy, but most of them were funny, and that he considered his time at the district some of the best years of his life. So we, since he became such an integral part of the golf course, and there's still employees who know him fondly, and I was fortunate enough to meet him myself, we'd like to take a moment of silence for him. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to welcome to the podium Kim Oliver to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
And then if General Manager Larkin would like to say a few words.
Come back up, Kim. All right, it is my honor and privilege to introduce you to Kim Oliver. Kim is a founding member of Wagmore Real Estate, a photographer, and a retired military officer. Originally from Indiana, Kim moved to the Sacramento area while on active duty orders with the military in 1998. After retiring in 2008, she decided to make this area her home. Kim is a graduate of the military's Command and General Staff College, has an MBA with an emphasis in marketing, and recently participated in Leadership Rancho Cordova. She is an active volunteer in the community as a director and former ambassador chair for the Rancho Cordova Chamber of Commerce, and a team leader and former director for Lend a Heart, Lend a Hand Animal Assisted Therapy. She is committed to applying the integrity, attention to detail, and strong work ethic that has served her well in her profession and as a soldier to her efforts and as the new CRPD or CRPF board president. So we had our elections at the last foundation meeting, and Kim was appointed by the majority of her peers as our new president of our foundation. So congratulations, Kim. It's a pleasure working with you. I really enjoy the relationship that I've built with you, and I consider you a great asset to us and a good friend. So thank you.
Thank you. I look forward to it. Thank you.
Kim. Danielle, will you please take roll?
Director Danzel,
Here.
Director Yearwood,
Here.
Secretary Reyes,
Here.
Vice Chair Lineback,
Here.
and Chair Sloan.
Here. This brings us to board disclosures on action items. Does anybody have anything to report? Director Danzel?
None.
Director Yearwood?
None.
Secretary Reyes?
None.
Vice Chair Lineback?
None.
And I have none. B, You read that one?
Yes, public comment period for non-agenda items. Members of the public may address the board on district topics not listed on this agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. It's a violation of state law for the board to discuss or take action on non-agenda items. Board members may only briefly ask clarifying questions or refer the matter to staff. And I do not have any requests.
Thank you very much. This brings us to item C, our consent calendar.
Thank you. Consent calendar items are considered administratively routine and will be acted upon in one motion unless separate action on a specific item is necessary. The chairperson will consider any request for discussion on the items prior to approval of the consent calendar. And this evening, we have 5 items for your consideration.
Thank you very much. Would anybody from the audience like to pull any items? If not, board members, anybody want to pull an item? Have to go down the line? No, okay. And then I'll take a motion on the consent calendar.
I'll move that we approve consent calendar items C1 through C5.
A motion by Secretary Reyes.
Second?
A second by Director Danzel. Roll call vote.
Director Danzel,
Aye.
Director Yearwood,
Aye.
Secretary Reyes,
Aye.
Vice Chair Lineback,
Aye.
and Chair Sloan.
Aye. Brings us to D, presentations, which I see there are none. And committee reports, I see there are none of those either. And we have F, public hearings, and I see another none. That brings us to our regular calendar, item G, G1.
Thank you. Item G1 is to reschedule the May 18th, 2022 regular meeting of the Board of Directors. And this request is being made due to the CRPD conference, which is May 18th to the 21st in Lake Tahoe. We don't have a recommendation on this item. We'll defer to the pleasure of the board, but one of the benefits potentially of meeting on May 25th is to have the preliminary budget work session a little bit earlier in the year. Thank you.
Well, I guess, does anybody from the audience want to speak about this? The public, no?
I don't have any requests.
I'm all for what I just heard the district wanting to have it on, unless somebody has an objection. Someone just make a motion?
Chair Sloan, yeah, at our CARPD board meeting, I turned around and the minute I got that information, I think I emailed Danielle and Patrick to let them both know that way we could get this on the agenda. Maybe I shouldn't have, then we wouldn't have had anything to talk about tonight, but, I'm sorry. But, so my recommendation is to go with what the clerk has stated is the 24th would be I believe the 24th is the date, Ms. Jones?
25th?
25th, the 25th is my recommendation.
Second, are you act?
Make a motion? That's a motion? Go ahead.
I motion that we move
Motion by
the May
Director-
meeting to the
Director
25th.
Danzel. I have a motion by Director Danzel,
Second.
second by Secretary Reyes. Roll call vote.
Director Danzel?
Aye.
Director Yearwood?
Aye.
Secretary Reyes?
Aye.
Vice Chair Lineback?
Aye.
And Chair Sloan.
I also say aye. Thank you. First time in 12 years that I've been going to it that they had it on our board meeting. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so that brings us to H, Board of Directors items, board members' reports. Training, there are none, so I'm going to go down the line. Director Danzel?
I've got two things. Halloween, once again, the staff did a phenomenal job. I definitely like having it earlier in the day. I like having the use of the grass and being able to spread out, and definitely, to me personally, I like that. Like to thank Director Yearwood once again for bringing his car and his decorations. I brought my rocks and plastic bags and candy. And I still have a bag left if anybody wants it. I don't need it in my house. One full bag still. Second thing was our CARPD. We had our retreat and board meeting on the, what was that? remember the date now, sorry. Oh, the 29th, 28th and 29th. Went over our strategic plan for the 2022, 23, 24, 25 years, just to try and, as the organization grows, tries to get with other organizations to build a bigger impact on the state, especially when it comes to state funding, things like that, having that extra power behind us, working with CPRS, CRPD, things like that, trying to, broaden ourselves and be able to work with both organizations and a couple others. We talked about those things, and as Chair Sloan said, this is the first time he recalls the reason our board meeting being on the same time as the conference. For some reason, Ledge Days got pushed up, and travel and everything else. Why have people travel two weeks in a row, especially from the south, to come up here for Ledge Days and then turn around? They were afraid that they wouldn't get people to come back up to the conference. So it made sense on the aspect of trying to move that. It is a little early this year, I agree, but the good thing is you don't have anybody graduating, Chair Sloan, but this would be a perfect year. If you had anybody graduating, you wouldn't miss it, because it's a couple weeks early this time. Other than that, we like I said, we went over strategic plan. Other than that, most things are there. We talked once again, training for board members, training for staff, how to get more of those available. Little things, nothing major coming. I mean, conference information still don't have all of it other than the dates right now. I don't know who's coming, when they're coming, what's coming, other than conference dates this time. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Director Yearwood?
Oh, yes. Well, I as well attended Halloween at Hagen, and it was nice to see so many people out there. I will dispute that 1,500 number. It seemed like there were a lot more people there. So, but
1,500?
it was very nice. It was great. Sorry, Chair Sloan was off doing something much more important, but it was great to have everybody out there again and handing out candy. And and my decorations are always your guys' decorations. I had to figure out where I was going to put all the new stuff I bought this year, but it's all ready for next year already. And already, the mind is already going. What are we going to do different next year? So, and let's see, I would agree, it was nice to see everything spread out. I like the earlier time, but I do also like it a little bit later. I got stuff with lights on. It's hard to see when it's still light outside, so, but that's okay, we can work on that. And I also attended the City of Rancho Cordova State of the City on November 3rd. Everything seems to be going fine with the city. They're flush with cash, doing all kinds of things. It was nice to see people I hadn't seen in a long time as well. So there's a lot of people I haven't seen since prior to COVID, so it was really nice for that. But again, they're doing fine. They're doing things like they're always doing, so that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Well, Halloween at Hagen was awesome. I had so many people come up to me saying that thank you so much for doing this, for the park doing this. And I liked, unfortunately, I did enjoy the earlier time. But I want to thank Director Yearwood for spearheading it. This time, he had that backdrop. And you can't imagine the lines of people that fell in line to take the. I think the count maybe is, you say 1,500. I agree with Director Yearwood. I think it was more. But the thing was, spread out. You had a lot in the field doing the zombie runs and all that. So it was good, and I really enjoyed being there with my co-directors. Thank you.
Director, Vice Chair Leinbach?
Yes, I was there for Halloween at Hagen, and I did want to also compliment you, Michael, on the photo op. That was so much fun for the kids. Yeah, they actually liked it, almost as much as all that candy. But and speaking of spare candy, Brian, I think the rec department always takes donations of candy. I could be mistaken.
There you go.
But it was a great event. And I'm wondering if the count was the difference, we were experiencing the free portion of the event, which was the trunk or treat. And it may be that the ticket sales are more in line with the 1,500 count, because it did seem like tons and tons of people there, for the trunk or treat. But it was a great event, lots of fun. And I think having it spread out in the field like that is great. And speaking from the perspective of a grandparent that's there with little children, having it in the daylight was really easier. Not that I had grandchildren there this year, but I just remember going there with my grandchildren when it was dark and trying to make sure I never took my eyes off them in the dark. And it was kind of tough, so I liked the daylight. Then I attended the Sacramento County Redevelopment Agency Oversight, or Redevelopment Agency Dissolution Oversight Board. That's what that D stands for, is dissolution. Anyway, they actually failed to get a quorum for that meeting, but there was an item on it that was just I think a receive and file item. So the lawyer said it was okay to proceed with that item. So we actually did proceed with the meeting. And I just wanted to comment on that item because it actually was kind of cool. They gave $1 million as a loan to a developer. And if the developer was able to rehabilitate these 2 buildings at McClellan and have them up and running and having 80% tenancy, paying tenants in those buildings, then the loan and the interest would be forgiven.
Wow.
And they did do that, and they did it ahead of time, and that means that the county is receiving property taxes for these, active facilities. So it was actually something where I think the redevelopment wasn't just lining the pockets of already rich people, which is what I think redevelopment got a bad reputation for doing. So that's my report.
Thank you.
Chair
very, very
Sloan?
much. Yes?
Chair Sloan, I'm sorry, but I had one more thing I overlooked, and I did want to bring it up because we haven't brought it up, but at the Halloween at Hagen, it was nice to see that we had the foundation there. Because, we're trying to put it out there. Thank you, Patrick, for being there as a representative of the foundation, because people started talking about it. There's a foundation, and, and you and your wife had those 2 other booths right beside us. It was so funny. I was there doing our booth and never thought to look at my back. And then I go back and I'm like, there's Patrick and the foundation. So I wanted to say it's good because we have to start really making them visible out there so we can support their efforts and also let them know that we know they're there. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry I was unable to attend it for the first time in a long time. I'd like to see some photographs if anybody would like to share them. But my son was graduating from the River Delta Fire Academy, and it was a very big, prestigious moment for our family, and so it puts him with a Fireman 1 certificate and heads him on his way to his future of saving lives. My list is on October 26th, I attended via Zoom the BRECA general meeting. And it was, it wasn't well attended. It was about 30 people, I'd say, 30-ish. We talked about homelessness, mental health, COVID, and emergency preparedness. Those were the topics. Don Natoli was one of the speakers. He basically was asked of a lot of questions and did a good job. And I don't know if you guys are aware that there's the possibility that Don Natoli, this will not be his district when they redistrict the districts out. So they're pushing to have a possible 2 out here, but who knows? But we'll wait to see. On November 3rd, attended the State of the City. I saw Jill there. And it was a nice event. A lot of stuff happened in Rancho Cordova. And some stuff I didn't see happened, but I'm not going to go into that.
You're out there.
Just, it's just a shame that some things weren't acknowledged. But beyond that, it was a nice event, and maybe there was a lot more things that were important to talk about, I guess so. Veterans Day celebration out at Neil Orchard on November 10th was exciting. It's always nice because that's where you're going to see your actual World War II vets still around. We used to have the events, out at the Veterans Memorial or at the Cordova, Performing Arts Building, and you'd see people that were vets, and I mean our vets are World War II vets are got to be in their 90s, a lot of them. So I mean they're Korean. Most of the ones I think that I have noticed at the senior center would be probably Korea. That would be 1950, I believe. But it was nice. They had a little band play and moon glow, they called it, and they did military themed music. And Neil Orchard was out there with Rosalie and Patrick and his troops and Heather and her troops, and they did a really good job of putting it together. Kudos to our senior activity center. On November 10th, that same night, was that the 10th? Oh, it was November 10th. But I attended the Rancho Cordova Athletic Association planning retreat. And that was that 10th, right? It was an interesting night because what we did was they on the dry mark board, we wrote down all the organizations that are involved, all the youth sports. And they came down with, all the representatives came down with the numbers of kids. And then they came up with a figure of what it cost to run that program that year and how many coaches are needed. One thing I can tell you that soccer turns people away because of not enough coaches. That's one thing that they had. I think he said he turned 300 kids away or something. Because they didn't have enough coaches. And another thing is there was a shortage of umpires and officials. Those are things that are really hurting some of our youth programs. But and then I also heard that the Little League and the girls softball in Rosemont is going to be closing down and joining our softball. Rancho Cordova, a girls softball, fast pitch with Rod Borba. So, but it was looking good, and it was just interesting to see the cost and the breakdown, and then they came down with opportunities and different types of things that they want. And so we have like a wish list of things to look forward to and hopefully get grants for. And I thought it was a nice little. It was about 4 hours, something like that. And one thing came up is that I guess the rugby. I guess they must have been talking to the district because they're talking about using the Soil-Borne Farms fields out there to the left of the path in. Is that something that that is on the record, or is it just something that I heard at this meeting?
So yes, I mean, we have been approached by rugby over the last couple of years. We have been working with them, but nothing has come to fruition on their side.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I know their season kicks off around January. So I think they're looking for some type of a home because since the new softball facility is all opened and things, that's the part where they use for their KOT kickoff tournament. And they're looking for more fields, so. They're looking for a home so they can create, there was actually people at the table representing a youth rugby organization. And that was new to the table, which was, because Cordova has never really represented it. Well, they tried it in the high school level or didn't seem to keep going, so. Maybe, and I think that's about it. I think that's covers a lot. And that will bring us to our next item, which is, do we do the board officers? H2?
We have no items there, so.
Oh, none.
Item I1 is the district-wide monthly progress report for November, and I'll turn it over to General Manager Larkin.
Thank you, Clerk Jones. Good evening again. Some highlights from the past month. We presented additional information and advocacy for CRPD's Park Impact Fee adoption to the Board of Supervisors, County Board of Supervisors. The public hearing was continued till December 7th. We will be going back December 7th. Included in that public hearing now is apparently a workshop that they'll be reviewing the other fees in the fee basket, they call it, to determine maybe a decision as to whether they're going to implement our fee. So we're prepared. I'm planning on submitting another letter on behalf of CRPD to the Board of Supervisors, highlighting some critical things that I need for them to have on the record in order for them to hopefully have some understanding of really what we're asking for at this point. So I will give that draft to the board prior to sending it out, and that will be the week of November 29th. Staff and I started down the pathway of reviewing our current CRPD vision, mission, and values. We will be doing a workshop survey with staff, and then we will look to bring some of that information to the first board retreat in 2022 for the board's consideration and involvement with that. We had hosted a PMRID Oversight Committee meeting to discuss last year's accomplishments and budgets. They have two new members. One is representing Rancho Cordova, the other Rosemont. So they're two nice additions to our PMRD Oversight Committee. We're happy to have them. We interviewed two companies that responded to the RFP for the staff total compensation study. A recommendation on the selection will be brought to the Board of Directors on the December 2021 board. I did attend the Veterans Day celebration at Neil Orchard. It was excellent. They had a great slideshow. It was just really nice to see Rotary volunteering out there. The staff pitched in and helped serve and plate the food, and it was just a really nice event. Heather does a fantastic job in making sure that those seniors feel special and honored and appreciated. So kudos to that staff. We hosted a Federspiel Parkway Walkway Improvement Public Information Meeting. That's a mouthful. We shared the plans with the community for the construction of the new pathways in the park at Federspiel. There were 3 members of the public that showed up in person, and approximately 6 were on Zoom. There was a lively conversation about it, but people are aware of what was approved and what is funded for that particular project. So we're excited to get that going. It is slated for the end of summer to start construction with completion date by mid to late fall. We also have several of our staff will be receiving a certificate for years of service. We have in particular Martin Fonseco, our Park Services Supervisor 2 is 15 years of service. John Schwartz, Park Maintenance Worker 2 is 20 years of service. Nick Ruiz, which is park maintenance worker 2 at the golf course, is 35 years of service. We got some long haulers here, which are amazing. We also have several folks that are not using their sick leave, so they're healthy, and that's a great thing during COVID, right? So we have several folks that did not have any sick days recorded in the last year, so that's great. The October led to another busy month in our development submittals and reviews. Some highlights for some of the grants that we received. There's really one. We received a micro grant from the city of Rancho Cordova through the advocacy of one of the residents in that area, Feza. And they received funding for a Lincoln Village bike rack, which will be installed. It is ordered and should be installed by the end of 2021. So that's exciting. The Cordova Community Council water line project in Hagan Park was completed this past month. That was the project where during the pool construction, we were going to take the opportunity to draw some water lines down into the park so that it will help with especially the 4th of July event for those vendors, especially truck vendors, to have water access. So we were able to work with John Biondo, thanks to him, and our staff to get that project completed. Also, we have the live steamers, Terry, submitted plans to add an engine storage building east of the Hagan barn. CRPD staff is reviewing their project and provided the live steamers with comment letters so that they can move forward with their project. So we're excited to work with them again on meeting their needs for storage for their trains out there. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our amazing Director of Parks and Recreation, Jill Nuns.
Well, thank you, Patrick. Good evening, Chair Salone and members of the board. I wanted to show you a picture of Prospect Hill Park and the amazing job that Gary Atchison and his staff is doing with their new toy of painting lines everywhere. They didn't come out as well on the board packet, but if you get a chance, head over to Prospect Hill Park and see what we can do with our new fun toy of lining. So again, thank you to Gary and his staff for starting to reline all of our parking lots and spaces around the district. It's about time, for sure. Okay, in recreation, super busy in recreation as always, even though it's winter. We've got lots of youth sports programs that are either wrapping up or just starting. We had another successful NFL flag football league, which is just awesome. We had 8 youth teams. We also had Subway kind of sponsor the final championship game, which is great. And then we're going to be offering another NFL youth flag football league in the spring. Currently, we have the Junior Kings Youth Basketball League going on over at the Mather Sports Complex inside the Mather Sports Center. And we also have about 90 players playing in that season, and we'll have another spring season as well for the Youth Basketball League. Excited to get those kids back out on the court. Other youth programs, our Pee Wee soccer program is huge. It's just been a really, really successful program, along with Taekwondo and a lot of youth classes over at the Hagan Community Center. Team programs are going strong. It's exciting to have the hideout back open. And again, thank you for the van. That's been super helpful for getting kids over there, teenagers over there. A lot of adult programs happening, but I did want to point out a couple of events first. So some of the events that we've got going on or had going on Wednesday, October 27th, we had the Halloween Bash over at NOSAC. And again, like you guys have already mentioned a couple of times, Heather and her staff are just doing an outstanding job of keeping the seniors busy and active, which is really important, especially during these times of COVID. You all, almost all of you, except I didn't attend either, Rick, but for the Halloween at Hagan. So I'm glad that it was a really successful event. I want to thank the board for being there and having a trunk or treat, and also thank the foundation for being there and having a trunk or treat, and especially the staff that put on the event. I guess we'll guess a little bit better next year, because it sounds like it could have been more than 15, but we basically don't know unless we sell the tickets, and then we just kind of guess from there. But I'm really proud of the staff because, again, they took an opportunity to evaluate an event, what was going to work best, not only for the community, but also to keep it safe. And that's why we ended up doing the earlier time slot. It sounds like it worked out, which is fantastic. And then we're just going to keep building on that for years to come. So again, thank you all for being there. And again, thanks to the recreation and the park staff for putting on a great event. We appreciate that. We have indoor facility rentals at Hagen that are back. Yay, it's been a while for that. That's partially COVID and partially not being able to find facilitators to facilitate. So we're back at Hagen for now, and hopefully we can gain some traction and get some other facility rentals happening in 2022. Over at the Mather Sports Complex, we have been busy with events. So October 1st through the 3rd was our Midnight Madness, where an adult softball tournament happens there, and it basically goes for 24 hours. It was a huge success. Recreation and Parks did a great job of collaborating and helping out with that Midnight Madness softball tournament. We had on October 3rd a Spartan workout. That was over 100 people who participated in that. And then our petanque courts got some action, which is awesome. So on October 2nd and 3rd, we had the Northern California Regional Doubles Men and Women's Mixed Tournament. Wow. And if you haven't been out to the petanque courts at Mather Sports Complex, they do such a great job of keeping those courts maintained. And we really do appreciate that those petanque courts are there. At the golf course, we got some new equipment, some new fun toys at the golf course, so thank you for approving that. I have been asking Chase when I can drive the new tractor, because I'm super excited about driving the new tractor. We also got a Toro Cedar and Thatcher, and so that's going to really help improve the course conditions. If you haven't been out to the golf course lately, and you just feel like stopping by, I would encourage you to do so. It's looking amazing. VJ and his staff have been implementing some new practices, and along with this new equipment, it's really going to help our golf course out. So again, thank you for that. If you get a chance to stop by and say hi, definitely check out the course. Another fun thing that happened is we got mentioned in the Sacramento Bee. So on Friday, November 5th, the golf course was mentioned in a SACB article about, the booming golf industry. I mean, mostly it was about Hagen Oaks because they're the most popular course in Sacramento. But, they mentioned in there about us and about how we basically doubled our revenue from June 2020 to June 2021. So exciting. It's exciting times for us that people see that Cordova Golf Course is an amazing place to come and play golf. We had obviously a heck of a year, and that's partly due to COVID, but it also is due to the changeover at the golf course and the staff working very hard to make sure that they give the best experience to the golfer. We might not have the best conditions at the golf course, but man, they are going to have the best experience when you go to that golf course. So I'm proud of us. I'm glad that we got mentioned in the article. We also got mentioned into another article that I'll present to you next board meeting. It came after the board packet was already in. So 2 articles in a row for the golf course, not too shabby. So again, Chase, thank you to you and your staff, and please make sure VJ knows that he and his staff are doing an amazing job. So thank you for that. And then board special event invitations. We have the Cordova Community Christmas tree lighting coming up. That's hosted by the CCC. That's at the Village Green on Sunday, November 28th from 4 to 7:30 p.m. And I did talk to Lee Fichette, and they did get fireworks because it's been quite an issue trying to get fireworks. They're still working on the 4th of July as well. So they have fireworks, so it'll be a really great event, and it will not rain. It will not rain. It always rains on that day. No rain this year. Breakfast with Santa is over at the Neil Orchard Senior Activity Center on Saturday, December 4th. We have both a 9 and a 10 a.m. seating. We have a Winter Wonderland event at the Neil Orchard Senior Activity Center on Wednesday, December 15th at 11:30 a.m. And then the big polar bear plunge at the new Cordova Community Pool. After the new year, get ready to plunge Saturday, January 8th from 9 to 11 a.m. We'll be sending individual invitations out to all of you to attend. And with that, that completes my report. Thank you.
Are there defibrillators out there? I just wanted to know.
Absolutely. But you won't need one. You'll be good. And I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, thank you. Wow, moving right along here. Well, that was J2? Are we at J2? Where are we now?
We're on J1.
J1, okay.
The articles, correspondence, and public outreach. There is the article that Director Nuns mentioned. Also, I submitted the ballot vote for the LAFCO Special District Commissioner and alternate. We sent out an invitation for Halloween at Hagen, and then we have our 2 newsletters, and then J2 is your calendar.
Great, well, thank you. That was a wonderful article. Well, then that brings us to K, which will be a closed session. So would you please announce the items?
Yes. For closed session, item K1 is a conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to California Government Code Section 54956.9, Cordova Recreation and Park District versus the City of Rancho Cordova, Sacramento Superior Court Case Number 34-2021-80003705. Item K2 is conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to California Government Code Section 54956.9. Christopher Pescatello versus the Cordova Recreation and Park District, State of California Case Number RCI-CM-809592. And item K3 is a public employee performance evaluation pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957, Title General Manager.
Thank you. So with that, and we're going to recess at 7:12 p.m. to close session. And I hope to see everybody back. 8:55 p.m., November 17th, on Wednesday. And I am reporting out of closed session with 3 reports. As to K1, no action was taken. K2, no action was taken. And K3, no action was taken. With that, I would like to address this meeting closed, adjourned, until the next regularly scheduled meeting, which will be December, come on, help me, people.
15.
15th.